It's done. We've been through this. Nobody has ever done what I've done. I've given total transparency. It's never happened before like this.
So Congress should be.
They shouldn't be looking anymore. This is all. It's done.
Fox News alert: the White House has sent a letter to Attorney General Barr critical of Robert Mueller's report.
Leading up to today's planned hearing at the House Judiciary Committee, where we expected to hear from AG Attorney General Barr, Chairman Nadler decided to change the rules to satisfy the very obvious desire to impeach President Trump.
Here's the important thing to me. What I learned is that the Russians were successful. I don't think there's any way to read that report and not conclude they accomplished what they set out to do. They had an objective to sow discord and divisiveness within our society at large and to help Donald Trump, and they succeeded.
The country wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers.
This is BCP coming to you from a hospital. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. We're all okay. But I will not be making it home to my home studio in time. But I got to bring you this report, so I'm doing it from here. The president has said enough is enough, and he is taking further action against the deep state, and he's putting it in writing, making his case. Also, I'm going to preview some of the things he has to say in an interview that you won't see until later tonight, but I've got some clips for you right now. So without further ado, this is President Trump against the deep state, doing it all for we, the people.
Thanks for joining us on the Black Conservative Patriot channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing.
Fox News alert: the White House has sent a letter to Attorney General Barr critical of Robert Mueller's report.
Welcome to Real Patriot News. I am your host, BCP. We've got a lot of ground to cover with President Trump taking on the deep state, taking on Joe Biden, taking on Hillary Clinton, and taking on the fake news. So let's get into it. By the way, if this is your first time here and you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe and join our worldwide Patriot family, because it doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter which of the two genders you are. We're not going to sit there and do a chromosome count. What we're going to look at is your blood type. Do you bleed red, white, and blue? If you do, then you've come to the right place. So let's do this.
Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is live with the latest, and this is big news. It has to do with executive privilege as well. John?
Yeah, and this is going to form the basis, I think, going forward, too, Harris, for the White House refusing to comply with a lot of subpoenas that will be coming down from Capitol Hill. Here's the letter. We obtained this earlier today. It's dated April 19th, which is the day after the Mueller report dropped. This is from Emmett Flood, who's the president's in-house counsel on the Mueller report, to the Attorney General William Barr. The letter is very critical of the special counsel Robert Mueller, saying that Mueller did not properly do his job by not making a determination whether there was obstruction of justice, but then writing in detail about the special counsel's findings. Flood writing, quote, "The special counsel and his staff failed in their duty to act as prosecutors and only as prosecutors."
And it's exactly what I mentioned in my video yesterday, right? The job was to find out if Trump and or his associates in his campaign colluded, conspired, or planned with Russia in the 2016 election. And it's a digital, it's zeros and ones, it's binary, it's yes or no. Was there guilt? And there was none. That was it. But the report brought on the obstruction of justice, which is just a way for the deep state to continue this cloud over the head of our duly elected and beloved President Donald John Trump. But this letter goes even farther and is actually pretty harsh and kind of funny in this next part.
Flood going on to say the special counsel's office instead produced a prosecutorial curiosity, part Truth Commission report and part law school exam.
Ouch. Comparing the Mueller report, and rightfully so, to a conspiratorial nonsense and to a sophomoric amateur attempt at writing something of legal doctrine or legal weight, comparing it to a law school exam.
Also, it has been suggested that the report was written with the intent of providing Congress some kind of roadmap for congressional action. If that was, in fact, the special counsel office's intention, it too serves as additional evidence of the special counsel's refusal to follow applicable law.
Now, with the White House sending this letter to Bill Barr, of course, that's going to give more ammunition to the left, who is going to say that this is further proof that Trump and the White House are controlling Bill Barr. But at this point, there's nothing we could do for the leftist Marxist shills for the globalist deep state. No matter what happens, they're going to go down that route, and they're going to beat that drum to death until the very end, because they're going to fight tooth and nail, because they know what's coming, and what's coming for these deep state traitors is not pleasant.
It's done. We've been through this. Nobody has ever done what I've done. I've given total transparency. It's never happened before like this.
So Congress should be.
They shouldn't be looking anymore. This is all. It's done.
President Trump is just signaling that this is it. This is done. He's finished. No more cooperating with these deep state Democrats. These Democrats are just anti-Trump. They have no agenda. Their entire agenda is stopping the MAGA agenda of President Trump. Now, what's crazy about this is he's going to mention something that I never considered. And that's that the FBI and Robert Mueller have already combed through his finances and have gone through his finances as part of their investigation. So that means that everything that Congress and the Senate wants to do, the Democrats, especially the House-controlled, the Democrat-controlled House wants to do, is retry him. Folks, now I know that they want to retry him in the court of public opinion because they're not a law enforcement branch, but this is essentially double jeopardy. They couldn't get him the legal way, right, with the Mueller investigation. They want to get him some other way. They want to retry something that's already been tried and he's been found not guilty of. Incredible.
Even my finances, it must have been looked at for $35 million. I assume they looked at my taxes. I assume that Mueller looked at my financial statements for $35 million, and having 20 people plus 49 FBI agents and all of the staff and all of the money that was spent. I assume they looked at my taxes, which are fine. And I assume, except they are under audit, by the way. I will tell you that officially, because...
There you go, folks. Yeah, Trump is right. They've probably looked at all his finances, and this second round of congressional looking into and subpoenaing this and that, his finances and his bank records, is nothing more but presidential harassment.
And the New York Attorney General is coming at you pretty hard.
Well, she campaigned on the fact that, I'm going to get Trump, I'm going to get Trump. So right there, she's precluded from doing anything. I mean, can you imagine somebody campaigning, doesn't know anything about me, and she's campaigning on that fact?
This is example 1,433,618 of liberal hypocrisy. Here we have a judge campaigning that she's going to go after Trump with no crime, and no one's asking her to recuse herself from the job, but they're asking for Barr to recuse himself because he was biased toward the Mueller investigation before he came in. Man, I just never am fully used to the hypocrisy here.
So I assume that for the $35 million, they've gone through everything. My taxes, my financial statements, which are phenomenal. They've gone through everything. And I'm so clean. Think of it. After 2.5 years and all of that money spent, nothing. Very few people could have sustained that.
Absolutely correct. Not only are there not many people, well, I shouldn't say that, but not everyone has their finances and everything squeaky clean. Or just to think of how much they hated him. If they'd gone through his finances and found anything on the Mueller in the Mueller investigation, they would have made a case for obstruction or obviously collusion, but there was nothing. So hats off to President Trump for running a clean business. Of course, no business as large as his is going to have everything perfect and in order. That's just ridiculous. And not everything that happens in a business of that magnitude can go back to Trump. He's got accountants and thousands and tens of thousands of employees, and if they do some shady or unscrupulous things, it doesn't mean that Trump himself is. But anyway, this entire interview will be airing tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern. I hope to have this up about an hour or two before that airs. And as you know, after the debacle, which was the Senate hearing yesterday, or in the upper chamber of Congress, the lower chamber of Congress, the House of Representatives, did not have the pleasure of hearing from Attorney General Bill Barr? Why would he want to go and put himself through another grilling, especially when the House is controlled by the Democrats? And we've seen like Shifty Adam and others, Maxine Waters and the other usual cast of characters, usual suspects and traitors, how, venomous and vehemently opposed they are to anything that is pro-American or that supports the Trump agenda. So the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, explained why AG Barr didn't show up and explains the rule changes that nasty Jerry Nadler enacted, which made all this happen.
Leading up to today's planned hearing at the House Judiciary Committee, where we expected to hear from AG Attorney General Barr, Chairman Nadler decided to change the rules to satisfy the very obvious desire to impeach President Trump.
McCarthy saying this is further evidence of what I suggested last night in last night's video. If you haven't seen it, please make sure you watch last night's video, that the Mueller report and the inconclusion that they drew on obstruction of justice and then putting verbiage in there that's saying now Congress can do what they need to do was all a deep state plan. It was a blueprint. And this next step in the construction of, or the deconstruction of the Trump presidency is for the House to start the impeachment proceedings based on nothing, based on the fact that Mueller did not specifically state no on obstruction of justice. And that goes back to the letter that we saw the verbiage of earlier in this video from the White House to Barr. So these things are absolutely crazy what's going on. And in the interview tonight on Fox News, you'll see that they asked President Trump about, about Bill Barr and what he's doing in support of his actions. Let me just show you a clip of how President Trump responded to that.
He also went on at length about Attorney General William Barr, saying it was his call to decide not to go and testify today before the House Judiciary Committee. And he made the point that he felt that the Attorney General was being treated differently or unfairly, if you will.
Treating him unfairly is putting it mildly. So hopefully in tonight's interview, we'll actually see and hear Trump, instead of getting this paraphrase, actually hear what he had to say on Bill Barr. And you can bet that I'll be following up on that in the next few videos.
I want to thank Rich Fitzgerald, the county executive, Allegheny County executive, for being here. And all my time in public life, from since I've gotten involved, the country wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers.
The other day, it seems like handsy, grabby Uncle Joey could not only does he have a problem keeping his hands to himself, but he also seems to have a problem not slurring. How does Trump feel about possibly taking on Joe Biden in the 2020 elections? Let's find out.
I think that Biden seems to have a lead. I'd be very happy if it were Biden.
Happy
Sleepy
why?
Joe. I think he did a bad job. I'd be running against
So you think he's beatable?
I just don't think he'd be a very good candidate. I mean, we'll see what happens.
I'm going to play this little clip for you. Tell me how many times you hear grabby, handsy, Uncle Jojo slur his words.
The country wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers. If the enterprise hit hard times, everybody took a hit. Union workers, the UAW took incredible cuts in their future and their pensions and the less to get GM working. They also got that last year and try to cut wages or freeze wages for their people. Right today, the same is happening in big hospital systems. I think we have to rethink how we define what constitutes a successful economy. Folks in America don't think their children are going to have the same standard of living they had. How can a person dignity be maintained? Why they do that? It means investing much more in medical research to conquer devastating diseases like cancer and addiction and Alzheimer's. So God bless you all and may God protect our troops.
I hope, I wish him well. Mm-hmm. I'd like him to get it. I'd be happy. I'd be happy with Bernie. Mm-hmm. I personally think it's those two.
between those two?
I think it's between those two. I don't see anybody else, but could be. You never know. Now, in my case,
Who would you rather face?
I announced, and I think I was pretty much right. I know I was at the top from the beginning. I think he is now leading. Bernie would be second. We'll see what happens.
Who would you rather face?
Oh, well, I don't want to say that to you, but I don't think it matters very much. I think we're going to do well.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the west.
I'm no fan of Joe, but I'm digging that shirt. What do y'all think? Should I get a shirt like that for one of my videos?
They can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within the system. I mean, they're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us. But here's where we are. We're in a situation where right now we have not only the strongest military in the world, we have led not by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. That's why the rest of the world has it referred to us. Not a joke.
Everyone's competition. I view everybody as competition.
Is he being naive about China?
Well, he is very naive about China. China, right now, we lose $500 billion. After I sign the deal, it won't be anything like that. China, just during the Obama years in particular, just took advantage of our country so badly. A very, very big competition, China. And I've stopped it, and I am stopping it. You know, during the course of the last 2.5 years, we've gone up $17 trillion in value. China's gone down $17 trillion. China, as you know, has taken a very, very big hit because of the tariffs and everything else I've imposed. We'll see whether or not we have a deal. We have a very good chance to have a great deal. But for somebody to be so naive and say that China's not a problem, if Biden actually said that, that's a very dumb statement.
And now we're going to end this video on a low note. Yep, we got Richard Madcow, who after 2 years of nonstop theories of the conspiratorial nature on his show has nothing. So his network and his show is now in the toilet as far as ratings are concerned. And when you're that low, what do? You bring on another loser. Someone who has lost not just to Donald Trump, but someone who even lost to Barry, an unknown Marxist fabricated by the Georgie Porgy money and the globalist interests. Yep, we are definitely ending not just on a low note because we got Hills here, but we got Richard as well. Yeah, my fellow patriots, I'm giving you a twofer. I'm sorry about this one. No comment necessary. Just remember, this person could have been president of the United States.
Reid, did you learn new things about what happened to you and your campaign in 2016 that you didn't know before reading it?
I learned more, and I learned more detail.
Okay.
But here's the important thing to me. What I learned is that the Russians were successful. I don't think there's any way to read that report and not conclude they accomplished what they set out to do. They had an objective to sow discord and divisiveness within our society at large.
That's right, Hillary. It was those Ruskies who did it. Yeah, just like Obama said. Remember when he told good old Mitt Romney that the 1980s wanted their policy back? That's what you're sounding like right now. Of course it was the Ruskies, the Russians, the bad guy, the Reds, who sowed seeds of division among the people of America. No, it wasn't a very divisive president known as Barack Obama. Heaven forbid that we give him any sort of blame. The same man who came out disparaging law enforcement for doing their job and putting their lives on the line. The same guy who was always talking about race and adding that to the mix. Instead of being, imagine, this was a man who was half black and half white. He could have been, regardless of his policies, he could have been one of the biggest unifiers, if not the biggest unifying president we've ever had. But instead, who is the biggest unifying president we've ever had? Donald John Trump, our current president, duly elected and beloved by many of us. Could it be, Hill, that perhaps you could be blamed for the divisiveness during the 2016 campaign? After all, you called me and all of my fellow patriots who supported Trump, basket of deplorables. Well, ma'am, whether it's me, a black Puerto Rican, or my naturalized Mexican wife, or my redneck and hillbilly brothers and sisters on this channel, the divisiveness came from you and the left, like it always does.
And to help Donald Trump, and they succeeded. So let's move our vision forward.
Yes, Mrs. Clinton. Let's move forward. Let's look forward to Keep America Great 2020, when our current president, Donald John Trump, will be reelected by a landslide. Let's look forward to the time when you will be either in an orange jumpsuit or you'll be paying for the crime of treason for the traitor that you are. I am very much looking forward to that. And so are my fellow patriots on this channel. God bless you, my fellow patriots, for being here. God bless America. God bless our duly elected president, Donald John Trump, who saved us from having this woman be our president.
Thanks for joining us on the Black Conservative Patriot channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing.